This video series reviews something every hiker should know, the 10 essentials and how to apply them. I'll start with my personal definition of what hiking is. If you can run back inside for a jacket when the weather changes, and if you can call 911 and get help within minutes, a walk is not a hike, no matter how long the walk is and no matter what gear you're carrying. Instead, a hike is an activity where you're on your own. In other words, on a hike, it's up to you to deal with expected and unexpected challenges using the gear you have and the skills you have built up in your own head. The 10 essentials are designed to help with that. There are multiple online versions of the 10 essentials, including one on my own website. Here I'll use the list by the group that pioneered it, the Mountaineers, founded in Washington State in 1906. The list first appeared in 1974 and is updated from time to time. As they say on their website, the list is always sought to answer two basic questions. 1. Can you prevent emergencies and respond positively should one occur? This gets to my point about self-reliance. Using my definition, a hike is always in a place where avoiding and responding to emergencies is up to you. Now for question 2. Can you safely spend a night or more outside? If you're backpacking, you should have this one covered, but it's a question day hikers should always ask. If a hiker is injured, help may not arrive until the next morning. If no one knows where that hiker is, it may take days for help to arrive. Meanwhile, it may get cold, wet, windy, or all three. If that hiker hasn't paid attention to the 10 essentials, he or she is a prime candidate for a toe tag. Before I go through the list, I'll say one more thing, based on having hiked on and off for half a century. The best equipment in the world isn't going to save you if you don't know what you're doing. You need knowledge and skills as well as gear. Okay, this is too complicated. Here's the summary. The reason an altimeter is on the list is because the list is put out by the Mountaineers. If you're not in mountains like the Cascades, you're fine without one. More generally, this essential is about not getting lost, and I recommend that you always have two different ways to navigate. One should be a GPS-enabled device, which can be a fully charged cell phone plus a hiking app. The other should be a paper map plus an old-fashioned compass. If you don't know how to use a map and compass, I have a video series that will help. Yes, even on a day hike. That way, if you run out of sunlight before you get back to your car, you won't be stumbling along in the dark. Plus, at night you can use the headlamp to attract rescuers. Each time you put the headlamp in your pack, test it to make sure it's working. I'll add my pet peeve. Don't hike in a baseball cap. One of these days I'll post a video on skin cancer in the hope that young hikers out there will learn from my mistakes. Not wearing a wide-brimmed hat was one of them. I carry a large first aid kit, in part so I can help others who get in trouble. But after dealing with multiple accidents in town and in the woods, I've concluded that it's far better to have formal first aid training and no first aid kit than it is to have a first aid kit and no formal training. Of course, you should have both. You can buy the kit, but if you haven't taken a first aid class, why the heck haven't you? Out in the woods, you are the first responder. During a hike, I always have a small lockback knife in my front pants pocket. That way, if I'm stupid enough to lose my pack, I still have a knife. The repair kit in my pack includes duct tape, parachute cord, safety pins, and needles and thread. I carry 2 ways to start a fire, plus tinder, even when I have a stove. When you're wet and cold, you need a bonfire to stand next to. Besides, if you're trying to attract rescuers toward you at night, a bonfire will do that. During the day, you can attract rescuers by making your bonfire smoky. Yes, even on a day hike, even when no rain is forecast. If all you take along is a 30-plus gallon garbage bag or a disposable painter's drop cloth, it may save your life. The critical thing is to have a sheet of something that's big enough to cover you and that's waterproof and windproof. Anything high energy will work. The average American won't starve to death in a week, let alone overnight, but little bursts of energy make a big difference when it's cold and dark. If you're hiking where there's water, at a minimum you need to run it through a filter like this one. Just be warned that these filters don't work against viruses. That's not an issue where I hike, but it could be where you hike. For me, the real problem is that in New Mexico you can hike all day and never pass a water source. Instead, you need to carry your water. My minimum load for a day hike, even a short one, is 2 liters. Let's assume that you have enough clothes to stay warm and dry, even if the weather's worse than expected. Are they enough to get you through the night? If you're backpacking and your sleeping bag gets soaking wet, the only thing between you and hypothermia may be the clothes you brought. On a day hike, you won't have a sleeping bag, so if you're stuck overnight, you absolutely need extra layers to keep you warm. The usual objection is that the 10 essentials mean extra weight on your back. But you're not a wuss, so think of the extra weight as enhancing your workout, just like in a gym. In my next video, I'll describe how I turn the list into actual preparations for a hike. I'll also put links to the Mountaineers in the description box. If you have questions, I'll do my best to answer them. As always, thanks for watching.